it's kind of a vanity thing at the moment.
Well, I think if you look at Twitter 5 years ago, it's the same thing percent.
Yes.
It's a way to self-promote and
sure.
there's some good and bad with it. It's who's using it more than anything.
So I'll ask the next question from the list that we have here, which is, what's the best way to communicate with you all now? Now that there are so many ways to get you in. I know for a fact you are being pitched 100 times, if not more, a day. And I'm getting, typically I think from the communication side, we're doing it via email, or crazy enough picking up the telephone and calling you. But what about reaching you through social media platforms and so forth? Is that a way to get your attention through all the noise that's out there, or do you not want that?
I mean, I guess I would say, a pitch that I'm not interested in is going to be a pitch that I'm not interested in, regardless of how it comes to me. And I often know that within 140 characters, so maybe Twitter is an efficient way. I mean, I would probably still prefer email, if for no other reason than, Twitter and social media is obviously something that's very public. And as journalists, sometimes we don't want everyone to know stories that we may be pursuing, particularly in this digital age when things are very competitive and people really want exclusives as a way to kind of beat out the competition. I would say if you've got a really great hot story, sending it to me via Twitter, when a lot of my competitors do follow me, may not be the best way to do it.
I still prefer email as well. And I will say this, that email is easy to ignore, which maybe why I prefer it. When Evan said we get pitched 100 things a day, I said only 100. That would be a low email day, a very low email day. But if you have a good subject line and you're sending me something I'm interested in, I'm going to look at it. Twitter I may look at for 5 minutes, at 9 a.m. and then not look at again till 1 p.m. or something. So depending on how my day's going. And so phone calls are the least easy thing to ignore. They're also sometimes annoying. So.
And I'd probably agree, email, this is slightly off point, but one thing that does fit in terms of pitching, sometimes, because stories break through the day, and AP's always been this way, but I think everybody's like this anymore. They might write a breaking story in the morning, or any kind of story in the morning, and then that story is going to be updated through the day. So in terms of pitches, I don't know that you necessarily need to see the pitch come through via Twitter, but sometimes if you're looking at stories in the morning, we have breaking. Monday we wrote a story about Blackwater changing its name again. Blackwater went from Blackwater to Z to Academy. So we write the quick story in the morning with the news that they broke the name, and then you start to say, well, we got to get maybe some outside perspective on whether this is a good idea. So I started looking for brand experts or marketing experts. But if somebody very quickly had seen my story right off the bat, they'd seen it via Twitter or wherever they'd seen it on social media and got that pitch. If you get the pitch in really quick while I'm looking for those people, that might be a good way to have some success. We still, I don't know if you guys get this anymore, you write about the story and then the next day you get emails from various people saying, hey, I've got this expert here. And that's good, and you may be able to use them down the road. But if you're really on top, even better if you got that pitch within half an hour or an hour of when you broke the story, that you might be able to use that person and get them in that day.
Just to follow on that real quick, because I also work for a wire service in a sense. The next day I'm moving on to something else normally. I mean, there's stories that I'm working on that I'm going to continue to work on. sometimes even better than saying, hey, I've got this expert if you want to talk to him on the phone. If the expert writes 3 paragraphs reacting to, I mean, in the email, sometimes I'm in such a hurry that I will quote from the email. And you know, there may be some useful information. That doesn't always work, but in some cases.
I'll confirm, email's still the best way to reach me. Twitter I look at periodically across the day when I need to engage with the market, but it's not, there's just too much to pay attention to. But here's the larger point. I think I'm going to suggest that maybe you need to rethink this whole notion of pitching stories for your clients or for your companies. And here's a couple of suggestions on how you can do it. Number one, I still welcome the pitches, but I think we're all in such intense workflows that it's still hard to necessarily respond, even if it's a good idea. But the opportunity is in where we're trying to engage our audience, and I'm going to suggest you have a more powerful do-it-yourself approach to get involved on behalf of your clients through some of our discussion groups. So if you have an area or a publication, or in our case, AOL government, we have a thread going on some of the new rules that are coming out from the CIO's office, and we get some discussions going. You know, what we're trying to do is get more engagement in those discussions, and so there's nothing that keeps you better to be the right person at your company because they're the right expert to weigh in. Go, this is my 2 cents, and you don't have to pitch me. You can go straight to the site, and in effect, go straight to our readers. And I think that's a very interesting new opportunity that you have. Yes, we'll look at it if it's gratuitously self-serving, and by the way, please buy our product, and it's on sale this week. We're going to ditch it, but I think most of folks in this room understand the kind of balance there. And I think that's one of the opportunities you have through social media, is to get engaged with our readers directly without necessarily going through the bottleneck of the editor that just really ends up not having enough time, even if your story is right on the mark, and we'd love to take it, we just can't quite get to it. So I'd be happy to share more on how that could be done, but I think that's where we're different from even a year ago, or when I last had this meeting.
Do you then